Hello again, so welcome to the lesson. You'll notice there's a download folder which contains all of the multi-track instruments and everything that we're going to use for this course. So hopefully you've downloaded it and unRAR'd it or unzipped it and popped it into your software so you can look at it and listen to it and mess about with it and practice the things I'm teaching you. I downloaded it from Cambridge website, which is for educational purposes only, so don't forget that. Don't go nicking any samples and stuff from the music as it's copywritten. Thank you. Okay, so here's our DAW, and here's the track that we've loaded in. And on this particular track, there's nothing extra, but if we were working on a track of our own, we'd have all sorts of extra things in there. So I've created some dummy things just for me to show you how to make the tracks inactive and clean up your DAW. So I'm using Cubase at the moment to show you everything, and in Cubase you can make the track inactive. You actually disable the track. And of course I go to the trouble of making these things inactive to save CPU, and there's no point having a track there in the way of things when you're trying to mix fast. So I like to hide them too. So it's up to you. In Cubase you can just make the track inactive and keep it there, maybe just keep it at the top of the page, or just save as, which you have to do anyway, and just remove the track. So before we do anything we must save as, and it's good to get into the habit of saving as all the time. I mean, when you're going to do something serious you must save as and try and write down in the file name what it is you've saved as for, if possible. So here's something I've called rough kick, which it could be anything, but it could be just something you don't need anymore to mix. So I'm going to disable that or make it inactive. So we just right click on it, and as I said, in Cubase you just go to disable track. In Pro Tools it would be make track inactive. As you can see, the track itself has gone dark, but it's still there, but it's no longer being used. So now I'm just removing that track. I'm not actually deleting it because I've already saved as. I'm just removing it, just like hiding it in Pro Tools so that it's not in the way while I'm mixing. So I'll just do the same thing with another unwanted track. So now we'll need to rearrange these tracks in some sort of logical order so that when we go to the mix page we can very quickly navigate to what we want to change. I just have my way of doing things. I usually start with the drums from left to right, going up to the instruments, and then finally the vocal on the right hand side. So this is the kick sub. I'll explain a little bit more about that later, but the actual main kick is here, so I'm going to move that on up to there. So kick, 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 snare, hi-hat, overheads. Snare up means the top mic, snare down is obviously the bottom mic, and here's a snare sample. Quite a lot of tracks these days actually have the real drum source and they have samples mixed together in the mix to get more punch or get more character of the sound that they wanted. And they would probably use something like Drumagog or some other sound replacement tool to do that, so that the new sample is played exactly where the snare beat is or whatever they're trying to change.